Welcome to the American Classroom Podcast, where we explore the role of education in building a civil society in our country. I'm Jared Taylor, the host of American Classroom, and I'm joined today with my co-host, Lindsey Crosland. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad you're here. We have a special guest, Lynn Young from America 250, and this is part of what we're highlighting this year of America's 250th birthday. And we are excited to welcome Lynn to the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here with you today.
Lynn, as much noise as we've made about 250, and I know has come from the America 250 nationally, there may be some people that are still just learning about this wonderful anniversary. And we're going to get into that and help people understand why that's important. But before we do that, we'd love to hear a little bit more about you and how you got involved in America 250.
Let's go back just a little. About 10 years ago, the United States Congress passed a law creating the United States Semiquincentennial Commission. That's quite a mouthful, and that's why we refer to it as America 250. The law states that we are charged with planning the nation's celebration. And the commission is made up of 16 private citizens and 8 members of Congress. So we're really a pretty small body. What's great about it is that we have partnered with all the federal agencies, with the White House, the Supreme Court, and many different corporations, nonprofits, educational institutions, in order to make this a very national, and not just national, but global celebration. So my background, the reason I got into that was I had just served a term as the President General of the Daughters of the American Revolution about the time the law was created. So I was appointed by Congress, by the Speaker of the House, and I quickly accepted the invitation. It's been quite an honor to serve on this commission.
And thank you for serving in DAR. That's such a great organization, and we've done some things on and off at Heritage with Daughters of American Revolution, and that's great. And congratulations on the success. It's been fun to see the 250 logo start popping up in commercials or on different things, both nationally and here in Arizona. So I think that's a lot of fun.
It is.
Well, we'd love to just hear a little bit about what you hope the country will know or feel, at the end of the celebration, and love to learn a little bit more about some of the bigger goals that have been outlined for your committee.
Well, our first goal is to try to reach all 350 million Americans. Well, that's a pretty big challenge. So we have a number of different programs that we're using to try to engage people. With 350 million Americans, everyone's unique and different, and they have different interests. So we have a variety of opportunities to be engaged. Our goal as a commission is to educate, engage, and unite America. And that also is a big challenge. But we are doing our very best to get people excited about this, to have conversations about this upcoming anniversary and what it means, what our history means, and what our future could look like. We believe that the more engaged Americans are, the better our future is for America, because we can recognize some of the mistakes we may have made as a country. And when you know better, you do better. So that's what we're excited about.
Well, that's great. I know in 1976, 1976 was a time of turmoil, and there were some similarities to some of the turmoil that we're seeing today. And and this could be maybe a bit of a healing element in our society, to give hope and unity for the great ideals of our wonderful country. So thank you for helping that.
That's my dream. I remember the bicentennial. I remember how divided our nation was, and that we all came together, and we worked together to improve our country. And that's where I think what my ultimate goal is, that we all serve in our communities for the good of the nation.
I think you'll set a Guinness Book of World Records. I know on your website there's a huge emphasis of big service projects and national service. So I think that's great. That really is the essence.
We actually approached Guinness, and because we want to record the service hours. We started that when I was President of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and it made an incredible difference in our organization. Guinness said there's no way to prove all the hours that are submitted. So we're going to record them anyway. Ask people to go to our website and submit how many hours you serve in your community. And then on New Year's Eve, 2026, we're going to announce the total number of hours recorded by a nation. First time that's ever been done. Can you imagine the difference that can make for all of us?
That's great.
That's really cool. I sent the link to that service tracker to all of our principals of the different campuses. And so I'm hoping that they utilize that and send it out to the families.
Oh, good. Yeah, we're going to give you a couple thousand hours in the counter there, Lynn.
Oh, good. Please do.
That's really fun. I think spreading the word is important. And I love how you talked about not just celebrating it nationally, but globally. I think the more stories I hear about how aware other countries are of our holidays and our milestones as a country is really special to me. It's nice to think that way. You know, I love my country, and it's interesting to know that people around the world are watching us and hopefully celebrating along with us.
So, Lynn, if you think about, the children in the K-12 system here and the Semiquincentennial that we're celebrating now, what do you think are some of the most urgent or important lessons for our young people to know from 1776?
In my opinion, what's important to learn from 1776 and from our past in general is that, it was pretty courageous for our founding fathers to decide to sign this document, the Declaration of Independence, knowing that if we lost the war, they would likely be executed. And yet they had the courage to do that because they believed strongly in the convictions. They came from all over the 13 colonies, and 56 of them signed this Declaration of Independence. And then the real work began when they had to create an army and raise funds. And how do you feed the army? How do you clothe them? And we all heard the story of the terrible winter at Valley Forge. What strikes me is not just the remarkable founding fathers, although they were not perfect any more than we are, but that they had the courage and conviction to do what they believed in. And then to get the rest of the colonists to engage and to go serve. I mean, I have lots of people I can connect to as people who actually served in the American Revolution. None of them are rich and famous. None of them are names you would know or will ever read in a history book. But they all did their part. They all just stepped up, said, what can I do? Let me help. And that's the lesson I want all of us to take back and to take forward with us for this celebration and for the years to come.
Yeah, that's powerful. And they can look back on that and teach their children when the 300th anniversary comes around and reflect on that. That's amazing. My dad did some fun family history years ago, and he tied us into the Edson line, which was up in Lexington and Concord. And they had a few little roles, but we thought it was funny because we love music in our family, and there was a couple little records of how one of the Edsons played the fife and the other one played the drum.
That was really nice, really neat. And they were probably pretty young men too.
They were, yeah, very young.
That's really amazing. And the women who served, I mean, it's a remarkable story.
Yeah, well, and I like how you touched on courage, right? Isn't that really an arc plot of America and what we've done because we've had so many courageous people? I mean, the founders' names or the signers of the Declaration really weren't even disclosed outside of John Hancock, for months afterwards because of what would happen to them. But
well, exactly what courage it took to sign that document, especially so boldly, and to then go, once they won the war, then go create an entirely new government with new principles and philosophies and laws. And they strove to create a more perfect union. We have not yet reached that, but we need to keep trying.
In a recent episode here on American Classroom, we talked about a quote John Adams said about the real revolution was in the hearts and minds of the colonists. About they felt like it's time for them to govern themselves, and some of those ideas, and that's certainly something that we here on American Classroom hope is our young people really feel the strength from those in 1776 and realize, hey, it's my it's my turn, right? I can be courageous and I can self-govern and be
That's right.
inspired by those great lessons. So that's wonderful.
Most of our audience is students, parents, and teachers of the K-12 in the K-12 space. From your perspective, what are some lessons from the founders that we can take away?
I think the lesson we can take away from the American Revolution, from the years since then, is that they were people, the founding fathers were people of courage, conviction. They believed so strongly in what they did. They were willing to give their life if they had to. And I think we can all do our part in our community, not to change the government, not to change the world, but to come together, to serve, to help other people, to make our community better. If we can do that nationwide, that would be a remarkable accomplishment. And I think a little bit change of subject, what really strikes me about speaking with the students here in Arizona is that we think of the original 13 colonies as being the only part of the country that was involved in the American Revolution, but that's not the case at all. Of course, right there were Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California were all part of Spain at that time. And many of those who were residents there actually contributed to the cause and helped Spain defeat British, helped us. They were one of our best allies. And so we have a lot to be appreciative of those who were the earliest settlers there in Arizona as well.
Lynn, with the America 250 project, and I'm asking this because we have a lot of teachers or school leaders that listen to American Classroom. If they would like to highlight this in their classroom or in their school systems, what resources does America 250 have, or maybe you could point to, for them to take into their classrooms or in their schools to join in the movement and in this wonderful year of celebration?
I would encourage, first of all, I would encourage anyone who's interested in trying to engage a classroom to go to our website, america250.org, and look at our partners. We have many partners in many institutions, such as the Smithsonian Institution, Library of Congress, National Archives, as well as other well-known educational organizations. And they have tremendous resources available, as well as suggested curriculum and lesson plans. And there's a world of information out there that's available and eager for them to use. I mentioned before that we have partnered with all three branches of government, including the White House. And one of the things they have just announced they're coming out with is a Freedom Truck. During the bicentennial, there was a train that carried some artifacts from our nation's history and went around the nation. This time, it is actually trucks that will be visiting every single state. And they're a mobile museum with some of our precious artifacts in it. So I would encourage your students to find out when it will be in Arizona and to try to go visit those trucks as well and have that experience.
Yeah, that's neat. I'm glad you mentioned that. I didn't see that as I was doing a little bit of background on this.
That's really cool. Is there like a truck tracker or is it just a schedule?
There probably is a truck tracker. I think the first one just left this week or last week. So that's White House. That's a Task Force 250. Is actually who's planning all that. So the White House website has a lot of good historical information as well. So go visit that site as well as ours.
No, that's great. Well, Lynn, as you think about some of the children you know, maybe family, grandchildren, or people that you know, what gives you hope for the next 250 of America as you look at our generation?
Well, I think every generation has great high hopes for generations to come. I feel like this opportunity that we have here is to come together, to reflect on our nation's past, to acknowledge that it could have been improved, and then again to come together and say, what kind of country do we want this to be for our children and their children and their children? And that's where the work lies, in all of us coming together and deciding what we want it to be, working together and helping to make it so. And like your school, I strongly believe in service, public service, and other ways that we can give back in our community. I've done that all my life. And one of our tentpole projects that we have is called America Gives. And we're asking everyone from students, teachers, everyone to try to record your hours on our website. What do you do to help your community? And if you don't do anything, look for ways to help a neighbor, to pick up the mail, the paper, do something to help someone in the community, and see if you can make their life a little bit better. And at the end, I think we'll help change our culture, be a less self-centered and more community-centered country. I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I know that service has brought me so much joy in my life. Like, I think service became important to me as a teenager. It probably helped keep me out of trouble, being focused on others more than myself.
So we are focusing a great deal of our efforts on the next generation of leaders, which are your students. And we realize that I believe in the power of place, that when you visit a historic site or see a historic painting or an object, you're much more likely to value it, to remember it, and for it to become precious to you. And so one of our favorite projects is called America's Field Trip, in which we're inviting students, grades 3, I think, or 4 through, I think it's 3 through 12, to answer the question, what does America mean to you? And they can do it in a variety of ways. It could be an essay, it could be a poem, it could be a song, it could be artwork, a video. And to answer that question, then we will not choose, professional educators will select 250 students throughout the nation who may travel with an adult, their parent, and will all be paid for, to go to an incredible menu of places they could choose from, such as, do you want to go to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida? Do you want to go to Washington and spend the night with the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence? Well, that's an incredible experience. You want to go to the Washington Zoo? Do you want to climb the Statue of Liberty in the crown of the Statue of Liberty? Or the most popular of all is to visit Yellowstone with a park ranger. So it's a great experiences that students can have, and they will always remember that. But the deadline is March 30th. So that's very, very short. And it's just a matter of submit it. We encourage every student to do so because it's an incredible experience. Even if you don't win the first place, if you come in second place, there's a very generous cash prize as well.
Okay, so that contest is listed on your website on america250.org.
It is. It's called America's Field Trip, america250.org. Short deadline, March 30th.
That's great. No, we'll put that in the show notes. We'll put that out and help drive some wonderful people in there. That's exciting.
So this past year I got to attend several of the field trips, which was a great experience for me. And the winners were then asked to write or to create an ornament, which was then put on the Christmas tree, National Christmas Tree. And so we had entries from almost every state, and we had ornaments from almost every state talking about why that particular site they visited was important to them.
That's great. And there's so many important national sites around the country. And so it's fun to think about all the opportunities that those kids have for field trips. So that's fun. I know that Heritage Academy does some really fun history-focused, founding-focused tours and field trips.
Yeah, we like to take our young people to Boston and New York and D.C., Monticello, Gettysburg, and Philadelphia, of course. And they just really enjoy those opportunities to go see what they've been learning. Here out in Arizona, it's not just a day trip to go to Independence Hall, but it's a big deal. But it's wonderful.
I live in Texas, so it's not very close for me either. But I can tell you that New York, Boston, Charleston, every city on the East Coast is planning something incredible. The tall ships from the bicentennial are coming back. I think we have over 30 countries bringing their tall ships for a massive parade in the New York Harbor. And then they're going to sail down the East Coast and go up to Mount Vernon, if you can imagine that experience.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be great. And there's so much. We're going to also do for the first time ever, there will be a Times Square ball drop at midnight on July 3rd, 2026. And it'll be the America 250 ball. And so then we'll start the whole celebration over.
I like that.
It's so fun. I just got the chills.
I like that. I did see the 250 logo on the New York, the Times Square ball drop a couple weeks ago.
Good. That's
we're
fun.
recording this in January of 2026.
Right. January 1st. And we actually, we're trying to go coast to coast to Sea to Shining Sea. So that was in the East Coast at midnight. And early in California, we had a float in the Rose Parade, the America 250 float. So we truly did go from sea to shining sea.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. I heard they had a little rain at the Rose Bowl parade this last year or this year.
We had rain.
A couple weeks ago.
We had rain. Yes.
All right. So you had mentioned earlier that there were some lesser known figures in the founding. And are there any stories that you feel are worth spotlighting right now during the show?
I'm pretty partial to the women who served in the American Revolution. There were, of course, so many women, although they could not vote, they couldn't own property, they could still have influence. So people like Abigail Adams, who wrote her husband and said, as you create this new country, be sure to remember the ladies. There are women who actually dressed as men in order to serve in the army, in the military. And they wanted to take up arms and do their part. There are many women who were wives of those in the militia, and they were called camp followers. And they trot along behind the army, and they actually went foraging for food. They maintained their clothes. They sewed, they cooked, they cleaned, they did whatever they could for the sake of their families. They had a great deal of courage and hardship to do that. So I think that we could look back and see it wasn't just the men. It certainly wasn't just the influential men in powdered wigs sitting at Independence Hall. It was every American who did their part. That's what my goal is, that we all continue to do our part.
Well, that's good. I'm a girl dad, Lynn. I've got 3 daughters. I have no sons, so they like to hear those powerful stories of great women.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Right.
Well, Lynn, thank you for being a guest here today. We always like to ask what a favorite movie or book or song or something of 1776 that you might recommend to one of our listeners to enjoy.
Well, I was very impressed by Ken Burns' documentary series on the American Revolution. Each episode was fascinating. It could have gone on forever. And I had a chance to meet him just a few weeks later after it aired, and that was really a thrill for me. So I would encourage, if they have not watched the Ken Burns series on the American Revolution, to do so.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. We need to see if we can get him on here as a guest. That'd be outstanding.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, Lynn, it's been a pleasure. Good luck this year and all the fun stuff that you have lined up with America 250 and all the good things you're doing with Daughters of American Revolution. Thank you for being a strength in our wonderful country here. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you.
Well, the pleasure has been mine, and I thank you for the opportunity.
And we'll do whatever we can to make sure that every single American gets to celebrate together this year. So
wonderful.
We love your mission.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.
And you too. Bye-bye.
If you like this episode, please like and share with someone who would find this interesting. We appreciate you listening to the American Classroom podcast today.
Thank you.
American Classroom is brought to you by Heritage Academy Mesa. Heritage Academy in Mesa, Arizona is a public charter school serving grades 7 through 12. Youth that come to Heritage are not just students, but scholars who are taught by the #1 rated faculty in Arizona. If you'd like to learn more about Heritage Academy Mesa, please visit heritageacademyaz.com and click Mesa.